has its similarities with Dota, but it has nothing to do with Dota at the same time. Yes, sort of. It's kind of like that. I mean, the funnest one is anything with blue. You never really know with these kinds of stuff, so it's just like it's a one-player game as well. So it's like winner take all, right?
Welcome to Rivalry's Artifact Angle. So I am sitting down with Demon, a professional Dota 2 player who's been playing Artifact for a little bit now. We're going to talk a little bit about the game and try and get a different look from what everybody else has been giving you. So first of all, how are you today, Demon?
Pretty good. Good morning. Had a good breakfast, good workout. Here I am.
Yeah, so good start to the day. Ready to jump right into video games and esports, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Artifact, straight up, for people who have absolutely no idea, what would be your one-liner to describe it?
One-liner.
Yeah.
One word. I don't know. It's a fun game. Just for me, it captivates you in other ways that it's not even a one-liner anymore. So I already failed the question here.
It's okay.
It's a fun game. I'll just go with that.
So from what it was originally presented as was at TI like over a year ago, people thought, oh, it's going to be Dota with cards. And so now cards are being revealed. We have the beta starting and everything. Is it Dota with cards, or is there very little similarity? Like, how much similarity is there?
I mean, I've never really played card games in terms of like the competitive side, like Hearthstone and Gwent or whatever. So I wouldn't really know similarities in that aspect. I mean, I played Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't know the real resemblance in that. But when it comes to just Dota and card games as a whole, I feel like it's not similar at all, but at the same time, it's cool the fact that it's using like Dota related materials on it, which I think is very ideal because it's going to be able to capture a bigger crowd, which is like the card game genre audience on top of like all the Dota fanatics out there. And like, for the most part, I enjoy it just because it's cool. It's like, oh, hey, there's a Zeus, there's a Tidehunter, there's a Beastmaster. And some of the items or some of the things within the cards within the game, it's like it has its similarities with Dota, but it has nothing to do with Dota at the same time.
So it's refreshing for you because you've obviously been playing Dota for forever. So now you kind of get to take some of that knowledge and familiarity, but transfer it to a completely new game.
Yes, sort of. It's kind of like that. It's just very enlightening, just knowing the fact like you can remember things much easier, like the cards and the spells, because it's Dota related, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the learning curve in that aspect, it's a little bit easier. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, because I guess there's an Artifact, there's like the 3-lane thing, and it's just like that's the cool part about it. I guess like other card games didn't have that. But I don't know. It's like you can't do what you do in Dota into Artifact at all. That's what I feel. Yeah.
So they're different enough. So how are they different enough from other card games? Is Artifact going to be able to stand on its own, do you think?
I mean, like I said, I wasn't a huge card game fanatic, I'd say, but I mean, I was bored. I used to be bored like watching Hearthstone and so forth, but like spectating it when it was released or being open to the public at PAX, and on top of just playing it, I feel like it's going to draw a pretty big crowd. I think it's going to be able to definitely stand alone. Of course, with Valve supporting it, backing it up on a financial aspect, and being the developers of it, I think the game has a lot of, major opportunities, and it'll be lucrative in the long run for both like the company and for the competitive side.
And so Valve obviously has announced their big launching tournament that they'll be doing in, I believe, January. That's some $1 million crazy prize, just like what they did back with TI1. Who do you think we'll see playing at it? Do you think any Dota pros are going to step into that scene, or will it be a lot of card game players who have tried transitioning?
I think for the most part, it'll be more on the card game players. Just the reason being, it's because there's a lot of money that's involved, and you can make something out of it in comparison. I don't know how much money Hearthstone and so forth are like,
Mhm.
how much money they have, but it's like, I mean, for like future and career wise, I think it'd be a good move. But as far as Dota players go, the pros, because we have multiple tournaments already, um, and we have consistent tournaments throughout the year. But I assume it's like more on the tier twos teams and some of the tier ones. But I think they're still going to be focused on playing Dota just because they're working towards a goal, which is going to be ultimately TI. But if they don't qualify for the tournaments, I'm sure they're going to try to make an effort to make the tournament as well. So we'll see what happens. But as far as I know, I assume more of the tier two pros are gonna really make an effort into it and potentially transition. But you never really know with these kinds of stuff. So it's just like it's a one player game as well. So it's like winner take all, right?
I don't know. I feel like that might work better for some Dota players if they weren't on a team anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I guess the way I see it is that I think a lot of Dota pros are getting the early access to this game. You know, like you had it before the open beta, and I think just because you're pro Dota players and because you have the access, you get the game sooner, which means you can be competitive sooner. So that might be one aspect. That's why I was wondering if maybe we'll see some Dota pros at least early on.
Just because you get earlier access doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be pro. It's just like some Dota 2 came out. And like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of betas come out. Some people make it pro and some people don't. They just suck, but just thoroughly enjoy the game as a hobby. And maybe that hobby can eventually develop, but who really knows? But I mean, it is a great privilege to honestly be able to have access early beta.
So that's a question. Do you suck and enjoy it as a hobby, or do you think you're doing pretty well with it?
Well, my first like 25, 35 games, I've only won like 2 games and I lost like every game. So I was pretty, I'd say ass. I was pretty bad at it. Um, I'm average now, but like you see some of the players, they have like all these perfect runs in like this gauntlet mode. And for me, like I've only had one perfect run. So it kind of says I'm pretty mediocre at best.
So right now it's fun, but maybe we'll see you in January
Oh,
eventually.
hopefully that'd be cool. I mean, just to make it to a tournament because like I'm a retired pro Dota player now. Um, so I mean it's something that I can somewhat commit to because I have other obligations in life that I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
outside of gaming. But it's easier because there's not a lot of commitment towards it, even when you want to, in comparison to like I guess um, I don't know other card games, but just like Artifact alone, it's just like it's cool because you can have you can have a meal and like you can be eating in your desk and you can still be playing and like nothing's gonna you can still fully focus on the game. For example, it's so cool. And I heard it's gonna be open to like mobile users as well, right?
Yeah, so they're supposed to be adding mobile after
That,
PC so that you can play it anywhere.
yeah, I think that's a great aspect, great feature there.
What's the mental commitment on it? Like if you're sitting there eating and watching a show or something, can you still play fairly attentively, or do you really have to focus?
I mean, if you're a good multitasker, but I mean, I think the game does involve someone like it's luck because there's a lot of RNGs that's kind of involved as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that's card games, right? You don't know what you're gonna get. Um, but no, you really need to. You can. I realize there's a lot of different strategies in the game because I play with a lot of different talents and personalities within the Dota scene. Not so much about because some of the other card players out there they're better than some of the Dotas and talents, but I'm constantly learning new types of strategies, metas within the game, and different versatilities, and how to build your decks, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and how to really abuse lanes like first, second, third lane. They're all different, and it's just there's a lot of different strategies within the game itself, and I'm still learning it as it goes. So.
Does it seem like the meta is going to be really dynamic and shifting? Kind of what we see in Dota is that every tournament is different, or does it feel like it'll settle?
It's hard to say because I think right now when you're playing, you're kind of I don't know how card games in general really work, but because you're kind of like stuck with X amount of cards. Every time you do a gauntlet, like you get a brand new deck and you shuffle through, and I don't know how tournaments would go and how you it's essentially like kind of build a deck and how you go about it. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're kind of like if you build a deck, is that just going to be for you? So I don't really know how that really works entirely. But in terms of just like strategies and so forth, yeah, I'm sure people will always learn like there's going to be something new and some cool new features that you could do and how to really like play the game itself. Because like for me, like I said, I'm still as many games. I've probably played over like 100 games already, um, and I feel like I'm trying. I mean, my learning curve isn't really drastic just because I don't really have a mentor in this aside from just like little feedback here and there.
Mhm.
But as the more I'm playing, the more I'm trying to like adapt and just like how did I get owned so hard, or how is one deck supposed to get consistent perfect runs, like how I see like some of the other guys in the games have.
So, one of the things that's going to be different about Artifact as compared to what we're used to from Dota, from Valve, from CS:GO and everything is that you have to buy the cards. That there's a almost a pay to win aspect to it, right? That you'll have to buy all the cards, you'll have to have them in order to compete. Is that weird? Like is that something hard to wrap your head around?
Yeah, I saw that too. Because I mean, I saw the feature. I mean, you can't do it now because you can't really. It's in
Yeah.
closed beta and stuff. I don't know if they can do an open beta as well, but that's really interesting. Like how much it goes. How much money will it take to pretty much buy out every single card so you could make the most ideal or the master deck, right? In that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the curiosity. And I know there's going to be a lot of cards, but how much money is enough money to be like this is perfect or this is all the cards that I need? And
Yeah.
that's I don't know. And it does. It's obviously like not really. It's pretty hard to really wrap your head around. It's just you gotta act. It's legit pay to win, right?
Which is just it's weird to see coming from they announce it at TI, they then give everyone at this past TI beta keys. They're obviously integrating with Dota and crossing the IP over, and so it's very weird to think that something from Dota has become pay to win rather than just pay to look cool.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a different like marketing tactic, right? And I guess this is Valve's approach towards it. I mean, I don't know how Hearthstone and so forth worked, but
I think Hearthstone you can buy you pretty much have to buy cards, but I think you can also earn them through playing. And so there's
well,
like grinding versus buying as well for that.
I mean, maybe they just took that card game, from physically playing to just the online world, right? Like think about the Pokemon battles back in the days or Yu-Gi-Oh. You actually pay to win. Like you're not
Yeah,
gonna have a good deck unless you keep buying these booster packs or whatever, and you're getting the ideal deck and to like create your deck. So I mean, essentially, it's if you really put into perspective, I think it's the right approach because that's if all the card game fanatics out there is just that's just kind of just because it's on a computer. I feel like it shouldn't make it any different. I could be
hmm
wrong on it, but that's just like just thinking about it more. I think they do it. They would have that. That's the right approach.
What would happen if Artifact also had a physical component to it? You like
I
Magic
don't,
does.
I don't know about that. I think it's too slow. I
hmm
think I mean, it'd be cool and all, but I think it's just the process is just too slow.
hmm
Comparison, it's kind of weird. I mean, I wouldn't say it's weird. I mean, it'd be cool at the same time because maybe some people would like it, but for me, I just the online thing is just it's quicker and everything.
All right. So how are you playing right now? What tips have you picked up on to not get owned? What color deck are you running? What's your strategy right now? And I'm sure it'll change in a few days, but
I mean, I mean, the funnest one is anything with blue,
hmm
because blue is like the spell casting. Um, like playing the magic, like blue and green or like blue and red. I mean, red is one of the easiest decks to play because they're like pretty tanky, they're pretty strong. And then black is something that I'm still trying to figure out because it's like I think it's like a sieging deck where it's just like you can hit their towers through creeps and yeah, and they're just like they're generally relatively pretty strong heroes, but at the same time it's like they're also weak in some aspects as well. And it's just like you there's different color combinations that I'm still kind of trying out and mixing around because I mean there's some consistent ones where it's like red and blue is good, green and red or black and green. Um, but you just want to try new things out and just try to see what works, whether it works for you or just works within the game itself. Because I don't know if it really just works for you. Because if it works for you, like it should work for everyone else, right? It's not. I don't know.
especially with the RNG aspect and everything, you'd have to
Yeah,
build it. Yeah, you have to make sure you build it the right way to draw the right cards and everything work out. All right, so
Yeah.
kind of the last question here. How many hours do you have in Dota? Do you know approximately?
I can check right now in like 10 seconds. Library, Dota 2.
Because I always tell people how many hours I have, and their eyes bug out. And I know my hours are nothing compared to you guys.
Well, it shows 24,688 hours.
Yeah, okay, so we'll just say 25,000 because I know you have alternate accounts and you're playing other places. So 25,000 hours in Dota over the last 8 years at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 7 years, right? 2011.
Yeah, 7. I was thinking TIA 8 years, but yeah. Okay, so 7 years or so in Dota, 25,000 hours. How many do you see yourself putting that amount of time into Artifact? Like, could
No,
you?
definitely
No.
not. No, definitely not. I mean, obviously, it's like it goes. Um, you're gonna play it. You're gonna commit some X amount of hours already. X meaning like a decent amount of hours. And if you
Mhm.
qualify for tournaments, you make tournaments, and you start winning tournaments. And you're gonna put more hours. And then if you get sponsored, then you're gonna invest more. It's about investments and hours, right? Because time is money. And if you're doing well and you have a good, you're gonna make good money off of it, whether it comes from streaming or tournaments. And yeah, then you're gonna commit more hours within the game itself because it becomes financially stable in that sense.
But for you, it's just fun, and it's not going to capture you to that extent, probably.
Possibly, I'm not denying it. It's like it can or it can't. We'll see. It's like, hey, you never know. It's like I could be, I'm probably not, but I'll be optimistic about it. Maybe what if I win that tournament that's coming in January, and it's just like, you know what, I'm gonna invest all my hours into Artifact now.
Nice. Well, see, that's the plan. You might have to change your Twitter handle. You can't be Dota Demon anymore if you go Artifact Pro.
Be
But
casual Jimmy.
yeah, there you go. We got it set. All right, guys. Well, you've heard it here. Casual Jimmy's going to win the first Valve Artifact tournament. He's going to put in the 25,000 hours. It'll be great. So thank you for kind of giving us a little look inside of everything today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, have any other questions about Artifact, feel free to leave a comment and subscribe to the channel so that you can see more. Thanks.